Cleopatra is a well-known figure in America, given the many movies made about her life. However, long before Cleopatra came to America, in the form of film, art, and literature, she was a powerful ruler in Egypt. Cleopatra was born in 69 BC and became co-ruler with her father when she turned 18. She then co-ruled with her brother, but wanted no part in sharing the power, and eventually took sole power of Egypt. Throughout Egypt, Cleopatra was the epitome of beauty, with her striking looks and seductive voice that changed depending on the occasion. And although it was her beauty that made her stand out, Cleopatra was not just a pretty face. Cleopatra spent her time as the Egyptian ruler, trying to keep Egypt from falling under Roman power, and did so through building the economy, trading with countries as far away as India, and tried to make Egypt a world power. The East viewed her as being powerful, in charge, and a leader on top of her stunning looks. It wasn't until the early 1900s that Cleopatra began to become a popular figure in America. From 1920 to 1960, a lot of things were happening in America. Women were finally starting to have roles outside of the home, and stereotypical gender roles were beginning to be thrown away. Women finally gained the right to vote, and it became clear that they no longer wanted to be housewives, but instead hold jobs and get an education. The National Women's Party was also highly effective during this time, attempting to change people's views of women and their roles. This was also the era of the flapper. Women were finally able to have freedom in the way that they dressed and acted in public. Women were provided with the opportunity to get out of the home during World War II when men were drafted and women were left to do the jobs. Edward Said is famous for his work on Orientalism. The term is used to describe imitations and depictions of the East, including the Middle East, Asia, and North Africa from the West. Said says that he believes the West feels superior to the East, and is prejudiced towards them, their people, and their culture. Cleopatra was depicted many times in America from 1920 to 1960. The most famous piece was the film Cleopatra, starring Claudette Colbert. When Cleopatra was introduced to the West, her life and accomplishments were received differently between men and women from the Orientalist perspective. Men felt that Cleopatra was overly sexualized, and although they were attracted to her beauty, saw only her looks. They felt as if although she was beautiful, her success as ruler of Egypt was to be ignored, and did not want to bring the same idea of a strong, powerful female leader to America. Women, on the other hand, were extremely inspired by her. While they found her beauty intriguing, they were more inspired by her work as the ruler of a nation. During this time, as women fought for their rights and their place outside of the home, Cleopatra was a woman that they aspired to be. They saw all that she was able to do and the position she was in, and hoped that they too could get to that point. Seeing a woman in this position gave them hope that they too could one day be more than a housewife. Cleopatra was well received through the Western depictions of her. However, depending on the gender of the person learning about her, their likeness was either attributed to her work or her looks. Given the fact that it was America during this time period, it was not surprising that women saw Cleopatra as an inspiration as they fought to become powerful and contributing members of the workplace. Still, no matter how many positive things she was able to do for her country, men were still, as so many were in ancient Egypt, distracted by her beauty.